You probably think you know your own reflection. I used to think so too. It's easy to trust what you see in the mirror. Easy to believe that the face looking back is just a simple truth. Just you and nothing more. I never questioned it. Not until I moved to Vietnam and rented that old house with the cold tile floor and the mirror that nobody ever touched. I'm Daniel, and this is my story. If you're watching Mr.QV Horror, you might already sense that some stories don't let you walk away the same person. This is one of them. From the very first night, the house felt unsettled. It's hard to explain. The air seemed a little too thick. The corners of every room always felt too dark, even at noon. But it was the mirror that truly made the hairs on my arms stand up. It was set into the bedroom wall, the glass warped by time, framed with old, blackened wood carved with strange patterns I didn't recognize. My landlord barely looked at it when he handed me the keys. He just muttered something that sounded like a warning. Don't stare at the glass too late. Don't listen if it calls. I smiled, trying to brush off his words, thinking it was just the way old people talk here. But his eyes never quite met mine. My first nights passed in a blur of new sounds. Motorbikes screeching in the alley, stray cats yowling, the soft clatter of chopsticks from the neighbors at dinner. I told myself I was just tired, that the unease was part of being in a new country. But every night, I'd wake up at the same time too. 13 a.m. feeling cold, goosebumps prickling along my skin. The street outside would be silent, the shadows from the window twisting across the ceiling. Without meaning to, my eyes would always wander to the mirror. There was nothing unusual at first, just my own pale face, half lit by moonlight, eyes ringed with exhaustion. But after a week, something subtle began to change. The air around the mirror was always colder. I'd catch a glimpse of myself moving just a heartbeat out of sync, like a video that's lagging. One evening, as I washed my face, I noticed a faint mark on my neck, almost like a bruise. When I raised my hand to touch it, I saw just for a second my reflection's hand hovering a little too long in the glass, then jerking to match me as if it forgot the rhythm of being me. I shook it off, blamed stress, blamed the jet lag, blamed anything but the truth growing behind my eyes. Nights became harder. I'd drift into uneasy sleep, always dreaming of that mirror. In my dreams, I'd stand before it and see a man step out, not a stranger, but me. Only his eyes were wrong, too deep and dark. His mouth stretching in a smile that didn't belong on my face. He'd reach out, beckoning, and whisper in a voice that tangled my accent with a raspy, foreign undertone. Come closer. Let me in. I'd wake up shivering, heart racing, my breath caught in my throat. The bruise on my neck grew darker, spreading across my skin like a secret only I could see. I tried to ignore it. I joked about it to friends, but even they began to look at me strangely. You look off, Daniel. They'd say, hesitant, glancing away. In my phone's camera, I seemed normal, if a little paler than usual. But every shop window, every puddle after the monsoon rain, every shiny metal spoon in the street-side faux stall would show me a face that wasn't quite right. cheekbones sharper, eyes colder, the ghost of a smirk I didn't recognize. I started sleeping on the couch, leaving the bedroom door closed. Still, every night. That same time, too. 13. My eyes would snap open, and I'd feel the weight of the mirror pressing through the wall. One night, after another sleepless stretch, I dragged myself to the bathroom to splash my face. That's when I saw it. The mirror was fogged, even though there was no reason for it. And across the glass, as if written by a child's finger, was a single word. Gan Hun. My Vietnamese is shaky, but even I could guess closer. From that moment, it was as if something in the house decided I wasn't paying enough attention. The nights became suffocating. Sometimes, just as I was about to drift off, I'd hear footsteps shuffling on the tiles. Other times, I'd wake to find the covers pulled tight across my chest, my arms pinned, the air freezing cold and sharp with a scent like old incense. The fear grew slowly, like a mold you can't see until it's everywhere. Even in daylight, I'd flinch when I passed the mirror, dreading the moment my reflection would move on its own. I tried to call my landlord, but he stopped answering. When I asked the neighbors about the house, their faces shut down. Some would touch their chests, murmuring a prayer, then change the subject. One old woman handed me a small packet of salt, pressing it into my palm with a trembling hand. "Don't talk to him at night," she whispered in broken English. "Don't answer if he calls your name." That advice echoed in my mind as I visited the small temple tucked behind the local market. The monk there listened in silence, his eyes never leaving mine, then handed me a thin strip of yellow paper with black calligraphy, a bua, a protection charm. "Hang this on your door. Pour salt at the corners. But most important, never look in the glass after midnight. And never answer the voice, no matter how much it sounds like you." Back at the house, I did as I was told. The salt left tiny white piles in every corner. The charm fluttered on my doorframe. Still, that night, I heard the whisper my voice, low and hoarse, crawling out from the dark. "Daniel!" I pressed my hands over my ears, squeezing my eyes shut as tightly as I could. "Let me in. Just for a moment. We could trade places. We could both be free." I couldn't breathe. The scratching sound from the other side of the mirror grew sharper, impatient, as if nails were dragging down the glass, tracing the shape of my name. By now, every reflective surface in the house felt haunted. My TV, often black, sometimes showed a face behind my own, mouth twitching with silent laughter. Water in the kettle rippled when no one was near. Even my own eyes in the bathroom mirror seemed to glimmer with a hunger that didn't belong. The tension stretched, night after night, until it felt like my own thoughts weren't safe. My voice sometimes echoed oddly in the empty house. I'd hear a laugh that wasn't mine. The mark on my neck deepened, branching out like roots. I began to lose weight, to lose track of time. One night, after the city lost power in a storm, I lit a candle and passed the mirror on my way to bed. In its dim reflection, the room behind me was filled with figures. Silent and motionless faces blurred, backs turned, all staring at the wall where I stood. And in the very center, my other self was waiting, eyes black and endless, smile stretched so wide it split the face. He raised a hand and pressed it flat to the glass, his palm leaving a bloody mark that began to drip, staining the inside of the mirror but never touching the real world. That was the moment I knew something wanted out. I ran to the landlord's house the next morning, demanding answers. He trembled as he spoke, voice raw. Years ago, a man died there, obsessed with mirrors. He believed he could trade places with his reflection, escape death. When he died, all the mirrors shattered except the one in your room. Since then, no tenant has lasted more than a month. The only hope is to ignore the mirror for 7 nights. But if you answer it, it takes your place. I barely heard the rest. I rushed home, covered every surface with cloth, hid every mirror, avoided looking at even the shine on my shoes. Every night, I sat in darkness, ears ringing with whispers that grew louder, more pleading, more desperate. The voice sounded so much like mine, it hurt. Daniel, please, just look at me. I'm lonely. I'm you. On the 7th night, the house was colder than ever. I sat in the living room, trembling, salt clutched in my fist. At exactly 2:13 a.m., the silence shattered. The mirror rattled violently in the bedroom. The voice howled, rising and falling, promising freedom, threatening revenge, sometimes begging for mercy. I sang to myself, hands over my ears, rocking back and forth, refusing to listen. Then sudden quiet. Not even the sound of breathing. Only the slow drip of water from somewhere I couldn't see. When the first pale light crept through the curtains, I dared to open my eyes. The mirror was still there, blank. Only my own frightened face staring back, as if nothing had ever happened. But the moment I moved out, I felt lighter, as if I'd finally stepped out of a nightmare. Still, sometimes, when I catch my reflection in a window at night, I see the other Daniel, smiling patiently, as if waiting for the next time I let my guard down. Sometimes, I feel a cold touch on my neck, a bruise that never truly fades. If you ever find yourself in a strange room, far from home, and your reflection seems just a little too eager, don't answer. Don't listen. No matter what it promises. Some doors only open once. And once you step through, you can't always come back. I'm Daniel. And this story happened to me. You're watching Mr.QV Horror. If you felt your heart skip, if your mind is playing tricks with every reflection, now like, share, and subscribe for more true scary stories. And next time you look in the mirror, ask yourself, are you sure it's really you looking back?